Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the council chambers for those of you that are in the chambers, and welcome to those who are on Zoom or who are watching it live. Just as a official point of interest, if you have registered for Zoom, you'll be let in on the Zoom meeting. If you did not register, we would recommend that you watch this on live stream either on the city's website or on YouTube. It is available on both, and I would welcome both of you in that format. Again, it's a pleasure to welcome you. This is the time and place that has been properly noticed for a regular meeting of the Caldwell City Council, a Zoom meeting. And again, we have referenced the governor's order that allows Zoom meetings to happen because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we know that this makes it a little difficult, but we're doing the best we can under the circumstances. So thank you for your patience and understanding as we move through this process. We will begin this evening with an invocation offered by Reverend Kelly Culver of the Recreate Ministry. If you would please rise if you're in the room for the pledge of, or excuse me, for the invocation, and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Reverend?
Well, thank you for letting me be here via Zoom. So let's pray. Father, I just thank you for the Caldwell City Council, Lord. I just ask that tonight in this virtual meeting, Lord, and for the people that are there, Lord, that you would just be with them. You would give them guidance tonight and direction and all that they have on their agenda tonight, Jesus. I just thank you again for our mayor and the council, Lord, that you would continue to guide them in our city in the things that they have to do, Jesus. In your precious name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and you may be seated. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Aldridge?
Here.
Wagner?
Wagner?
Wagner? Hopper?
Here. You're real faint, those, Debbie.
Carlson?
I can barely hear you, Debbie, but here.
Okay. Pollard? Pollard?
Is Mike on? He's muted though. Mike, you're muted if you want to unmute yourself.
Pollard?
Can you unmute him? France, or do you have to do that yourself?
McGee?
Here.
Yeah, Mike, you're muted. Again, would you, Mike?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
And Mr. Wagner as well.
Okay, Pollard is here.
Thank you. And Mr. Wagner?
Here.
All right. That, if I counted correctly, we do have a full council to hear the items of business before us this evening. We appreciate, again, everybody working with us as we work through this Zoom meeting. Are there any items on the agenda that present conflict of interest for any council members? Okay, hearing none. We'll first go to special presentations. The first one on the agenda is the Employee of the Year recognition. This is something we normally do at a employee recognition dinner where we have the opportunity to have all the employees together and their spouses. Again, to comply with the direction of our health officials and the governor, we're trying to keep meetings small. And so unfortunately, we're presenting Employee of the Year and Supervisor of the Year at City Council rather than in a large surrounding where everybody can pat you on the back, but that doesn't diminish the honor at all. And so we appreciate those of you that have come here to support those individuals. So it's my pleasure first to present for Employee of the Year. We would like to formally nominate Larry Sink for Employee of the Year. Larry is not just a custodian of the Caldwell Police Department, but is an integral member of our micro community. Larry has made meaningful connections with other department employees and is a joy to converse with. During the spin-up of the COVID-19 pandemic, Larry was vigilant in implementing new measures to make sure police department employees had a clean environment to work in. Larry also ensured he had enough toilet paper. That should ring a bell with everyone, right? Larry has proven himself to be a caring member who is genuinely interested in the welfare of the department, especially to employees. Larry is quick to offer his help with tasks that might be considered outside his job description. He is also quick to ask for help. This provides a genuine give-and-take relationship that has value to all involved parties. Larry, we would like to say thank you for being the person you are and for doing a great job. Your friendship is a treasured gift. With regard, Sergeant Gregory, and we agreed, and it's our pleasure to present Employee of the Year to Larry Singh.
Just so you know, it's his birthday today, too. Birthday, right?
The plaque says, in appreciation of your education, or dedication, hard work, great attitude, and the joy you bring to others. City of Caldwell 2020. And as you know, the Employee of the Year and the Supervisor of the Year also received a $500 bonus from the city as a huge thank you for what you've done. So, thank you very much. Let me take this off for a Kodak moment.
I appreciate this, Frank, too, and all of you. Do enjoy what you're doing.
I'd like to thank Chelsea Wilson also, who is our communication specialist. She's here tonight to make sure that pictures are taken and posted on the city's social media site. Thank you, Chelsea, for being here. All right, the next one is Supervisor of the Year. It also comes with that same $500 bonus and a huge thank you. I'd like to read the letter that was presented for Steve Donohue, and I think this was presented by, was this you, Chief Wendell Thornton, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I would like to nominate Deputy Chief Steve Donohue for Supervisor of the Year 2020. In addition to the normal call response and working on day-to-day projects, Steve has continued to step up and meet the needs of the Caldwell Fire Department. I regularly receive emails from Steve in the evenings and weekends as he continues to work on projects. Below are a few additional projects Steve has worked on this year. The fire department has a number of major projects in the pipeline. First and foremost is the building of Fire Station Number 3. In addition to working with the construction manager, general contractor, CMGC, Steve has researched items so the facility is within budget, but also state-of-the-art. For example, the station has a SCBA washer, which is one of only 2 in the state of Idaho, and less than 100 in the country. The washer removes more carcinogens than we can scrub with a brush, soapy water, under any circumstance, providing safety for our employees. Another example is the installation of UVC lighting in the living area, which kills viruses, including COVID-19, bacteria, and mold. With the retirement of Battalion Chief Brad Carrico, the department is migrating its record management system over to a cloud-based system. The movement over to the cloud-based system is a lengthy process requiring the users to set up a foundation in which the records management systems grow from. Since COVID-19, the company is unable to provide on-site support to assist in the migration of information. Steve has been working evening and weekends building this foundation so we can move into the new RMS program. With COVID being part of our everyday life in 2020, training and communication with our personnel was very important, but yet we needed to maintain social distancing. Steve worked to find and implement a solution in which we could continue to meet and train at a distance. Working with COVID funding, Steve was able to find a solution by incorporating Zoom rooms in each of our facilities. This allows crews to maintain distancing and in service, but also to exchange information. The fire department has an apparatus replacement plan based on a number of variables. As we follow this plan, it allows us to have the funds available when it is time for large purchases. In the 2021 budget, the department needed to replace the brush unit, which is used for grass fires and EMS responses. Every department has different needs for their apparatus, and for this reason, there is no showroom you can walk in to just purchase one. Each one is a custom unit to meet the needs of the department. Steve was very instrumental in identifying what we needed and working on the design to incorporate those identified needs. When I think of someone for Supervisor of the Year, I think of someone who leads by example. Chief Donohue does. He does lead by example and sets the bar high. It is my honor to be recognizing him for Supervisor of the Year, and we agreed with the Chief. Congratulations, Chief. Donohue, Supervisor of the Year.
I came prepared to give you a report on Station 3.
I assume you were here under false pretenses.
Yes, sir.
Supervisor of the Year, Steve Donohue, in recognition of your outstanding performance, superior dedication, and commitment to excellence in service to the city of Caldwell and Canyon County. Supervisor of the Year 2020, and also that $500. Or what's left of it after the, And again, either one of you want to say anything, the recipients?
Tell you about Station 3 if you'd like.
Larry, did you want to say anything? I apologize. Did you like here with you?
I appreciate all of you. I enjoy working here. Had a great, it's been a great time in the 6 years I've been here. It's hard to believe how time it goes. So I appreciate it, but it has been a lot of fun.
And who's this young lady?
This is my wife, Tammy.
Hi, Janet. Nice to meet you. You bet. And Steve, did you want to say anything at all?
Thank you very much.
All right. Congratulations to both of you, and thank you for all of you that came to support both of these individuals. Let's give one more round of applause. Yes.
Mike Pollard.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Pollard.
I just want to say when I, was part of the Caldwell Police Department triad, Larry was so kind to all of us, and he just did a great job. And I just want to thank Larry for everything he did and how kind he was to all of us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pollard. He is a good man. It's nice to be recognized, so thank you for acknowledging that.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments from council members? All right. The next item under special presentations is the annual update report from the Caldwell Airport Commission. I believe Steve Kahn, Chairman, are you on the Zoom meeting?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Mr. Mayor and the council, I appreciate the opportunity to make this presentation tonight. I think you have a copy of my remarks that was with the agenda packet. I wanted to start by thanking Marty Koch for all the work he's done over a good many years as my president. His history, knowledge and history, his sense of humor at the commission meetings was very good, and we'll miss him. The next item that I have in this report is the master plan update. You'll recall that the city council approved the last master plan in 2010, and that's being updated. The update was started in 2020 and will be done in 2021. We've reviewed a couple of draft chapters, but it's still very much a work in progress. The next item, which I found particularly interesting, is the economic benefit of general aviation in the city of Caldwell. In 2010 and 2020, the Department of Transportation Division of Aeronautics commissioned studies to gather a lot of information, including the economic data that I show here. They've done this for some 65 airports in Idaho, and I've extracted just the Caldwell information, and it shows what's in place today and what was true 10 years ago. The number of jobs that the airport generates went from 222 to 341. The earnings, the payrolls of those jobs and related was $5 million, and now it's at $14 million. So that's a pretty big growth. The gross domestic product is up to $25 million, and the output generated, considering the multiplier effect, is now at about $56 million. The local taxes and fees just for the city of Caldwell were measured in 2010, but now they're about $1.6 million. In addition to this, there's a substantial amount of fees for the state also that come come out of the airport. I don't have in this report the total economic benefit of GA to the state of Idaho, but it's significant. And Idaho is a major draw to recreational pilots from all around the country. And if you spend much time in the backcountry, you'll meet pilots that come in from other countries just to experience flying in Idaho. The next item is major activities completed in 2020. The Pioneer Irrigation District Canal, many thanks to Brent Horton for getting that done. That was a long process, but the canal was between the taxiway and the new terminal building, and it impaired our ability to develop that land. That's been moved, so that impairment is now out of the way. Also, there was 15 acres of land acquired from the Pretties that's on the northeast side of the airport. That will allow addition of maybe a major fixed base operator, hangars, or other improvements to the airport that will help increase the economic benefits to the city that you see above, as well as be an attractor to businesses in Sky Park and other parts of the city. Also, in 2020, the engineering design of the taxiway rehabilitation was completed. That cost about $150,000, and the major construction that's scheduled for 2021 is to actually complete that rehabilitation, and the cost of that is about $1.4 million. And the cost split between the FAA, the state, and the city for those projects is shown in items 4 and 5. That's an update on the major things happening at the airport, and I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
Thank you so very much, Steve. It's good to see you again, even if it's just virtually. Thank you very much for your willingness to chair the Airport Commission. I know you've been using the airport for many, many years, and so it's nice to have your wisdom and your leadership on that commission. Are there any questions for Mr. Khan? Brent, did you have a question or a comment?
Mr. Mayor, when you're ready, if you don't mind, I just want to make a comment. Of course, in my position, I get to work with the airport, and Mr. Khan is an excellent member of that commission. He brings his professional experience. When he first joined the commission, I honestly didn't know how to take him because he asked a lot of deep diving questions, and I was like, are you trying to make this hard for me? But he's just smart, and he was doing a great job. So I just want to pat him on the back and let you know that if he's providing a report, you can rely on what he's saying.
Thank you, Brent. Any questions from council members for Mr. Khan? All right, well, we thank you, and please tell the Airport Commission members how much we appreciate their effort. We have a wonderful amenity out there. It's truly a blessing for this community to have that great airport, and the number of operations out there, I believe, makes us the busiest airport in the state of Idaho, if I'm not mistaken. Which is,
I think that's right.
That's tremendous for an airport the size of ours. And so we do appreciate it, Steve, and please make sure you thank again the commission members for us. All right?
Thank you very much.
All right, the next item then is the annual update from Metro Community Services. Grant, are you on the Zoom meeting?
I am. Good evening.
Welcome, Grant. Mr. Grant Jones, who is the Executive Director for Metro Community Services. Welcome, sir, and the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And first of all, I want to thank the council, the mayor, and the city of Caldwell for your ongoing support and partnership with Metro. It really means a lot to us. Despite COVID-19 and the year that we experienced, I think collectively and collaboratively, we really did make a difference in Caldwell. Your help, along with our services, really helped a lot of seniors, disabled, and economically disadvantaged. I think it's no doubt that all of us can agree that 2020 was quite the year, and it was an interesting year to say the least. But out of that interesting year came some really good things. So our year was really kind of a mixed bag of positive things, successes, and yet some challenges. But we weren't alone. Everyone was experiencing the exact same thing. I know you have the outline of my comments in your packet, so I'm going to elaborate on a few of those comments. The first one is Metro Community Services was able to really weather COVID-19 successfully. and I kind of mean that tongue in cheek, but, we really were. We were able to, receive the CARES Act forgiveness, which allowed us to keep all Caldwell employees employed. We didn't have to lay anybody off. We didn't have to furlough anyone. We had to be a little creative, for a while in how we changed some people's positions, and we used some people in different areas, but we didn't have to lay anybody off. We kept all Caldwell employees employed. Our transportation services was probably the biggest hit that we experienced during the course of the year. We have a door-to-door, on-demand free service. And the beginning of the year, 2020, started out really strong. Boardings were up. We were doing really well. And then March hit, and things started to close. Medical appointments were canceled. The senior centers closed. The Y closed. People weren't going places. So we experienced a huge drop. Well, that continued for most of the summer. Numbers stayed really pretty flat. And then towards the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, things started to increase. Boarding started to resume a little bit because medical appointments were rescheduled. People were able to do some things. But I want to give you some statistics, and I don't like a lot of statistics, but this really bears, I think you'll understand. We had 7,470 boardings in Caldwell last year. That's about half of the previous year. We had 13,388 in 2019. So you can see we took a huge hit. There was a big fallout with ridership during the year. And so I think that number really bears kind of an importance in terms of that was indicative of what we experienced. But we had some really good successes, some really positive things. We received $53,000 from Together Treasure Valley for a new vehicle. We have the vehicle now in our possession. We're branding it, and I think a little icing on the cake. Together Treasure Valley is using Metro and our vehicle in their advertising right now. So that's pretty cool. We rebranded and changed our food pantry and adopted senior programs. We think they're much more effective, much more of a benefit to the folks that we serve. And we helped over 2,570 individuals last year through those two important programs. 20 households in Caldwell received weatherization services. That's down because for many months, people didn't want employees in their homes. So we took a hit there as well. We served over 30 different in-home homemaker clients in Caldwell. That number was down too because, again, seniors didn't necessarily want our people in their homes. Our Meals on Wheels program expanded into what I like to call peripheral Caldwell. We're helping the Caldwell Meals on Wheels program with some of their excess. So that's been a really good thing for us. And then we started a congregate program in Marsing at the end of the year. So those are some of the highlights of 2020, some successes, some things that we wish would have been a little better, a little different, a little more positive, but they are what they are, and we tried to do the best we could with the circumstances. I want to turn the attention now to a look ahead. We always like to look forward. We like to be forward thinking. And we have a lot of exciting things in the works for 2021. One of our goals is going to be to bring our service areas up to the pre-COVID levels. So you heard me talk about transportation, weatherization, in-home, some of those things which did take a hit. But our goal, our leadership team's working really hard and being very strategic, very intentional to try to get those services back up to those pre-COVID levels. We're transitioning our in-home program to a concierge program, and that may sound a little funny, but it has two real key benefits. First of all, it's going to allow us to provide a wide variety of services, better serve the seniors, more than just housekeeping, all kinds of other services. And secondly, and almost as important, it's going to allow us to generate more revenue for the organization. and we certainly need to do that with the hits that we took in 2020. When things get back to normal, knock on wood, I'm knocking on my desk here, we're really hoping that we can resurrect Mayor Nampolis' idea of a collaboration summit. And that's an opportunity to bring a lot of organizations together in Caldwell to really address human services, see how we can work together collaboratively, how we can work together better, more efficiently and more effectively to really serve the citizens of Caldwell. And we love his idea. Unfortunately, it didn't happen last year, but we're hoping it will happen this year. In June, we definitely want to have our fun, wacky, crazy, whatever you want to call it, 0.5K grueling race for the rest of us at Griffiths Park. We had every intention of doing that last June. It was derailed because of COVID, but we're bound and determined to have an event this year. If for some reason we can't have an actual in-person event, we're going to attempt to do a virtual event and still have a lot of fun and get the community involved. And during the course of the year, we plan on embarking on a really cool endeavor, a cool opportunity at our Caldwell headquarters. And that's all I'm going to say to you tonight. It's a little bit of a tease. And stay tuned. We're going to give you details down the road, but we're very excited about what that will mean for Caldwell and for our community and the folks that we serve in Caldwell. Just a couple of other things. Growth, of course, has brought challenges, even with coronavirus. The growth, just the population growth, the senior growth, just the general population growth has really impacted us, has really affected us. All of our services, whether it's transportation or in-home or weatherization or payee, representative payee, food pantry, Meals on Wheels, it doesn't matter. There is an increased need for all of our services, and that's only going to continue. So we're challenged with how do we deal with that, how do we take care of that, but we're up to the challenge, and again, collaborating and partnering with Caldwell has made a world of difference for us. The $9,000 that the city of Caldwell provides to us each year for fuel and towards an employee, driver, we couldn't do it without you. It is so critical, it is so important, and I really think that transportation is probably one of our most important services because isolation or lack of mobility takes a toll on in a lot of different ways. And so we really think that the transportation makes a huge difference, has a huge impact, and so we are so grateful to the city of Caldwell and to each of you for your support, for your partnership, for your advocacy, and for your help with that. And we look forward to 2021. We really hope that coronavirus will maybe kind of become a little bit of a distant memory, but regardless, we'll continue to serve the people in Caldwell, and together I think we really will have a huge impact and make a big difference. So we thank you so much. I'm open to any questions or comments at this time.
Grant, thank you very much. Appreciate what you do for our community. Many of the folks that you serve, that may be their only contact with the outside world. Especially in a year like this, it's so important that they have that care, that compassion, and that contact, and we thank you and your employees for taking such good care of our community. Any questions from council?
Thank you.
Mr. Jones. All right. Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Polly.
Yes, I just want to thank Mr. Jones for all of the things. I'm probably one of the oldest members of the council for everything that they do, and particularly Meals on the Wheels. I've been honored to be asked many times to help serve the Meals on Wheels program. And it's so important to the seniors of our community. So thank you, Mr. Jones, for everything you do.
Thank you. It's our privilege. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions from council? Thank you, Mr. Jones. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet. That takes us to audience participation. We've had a member of the public sign up tonight, Eric Barboza. Are you on, sir? Hello, okay, the floor is yours, go ahead, sir.
Awesome. I just want to start off by saying good evening. It's an honor and privilege to speak in front of the city council tonight. I was born and raised here in Caldwell. I can remember being a senior at Caldwell High School, eagerly waiting to be 21 years old. At that time, the first constitutional carry law of Idaho had been passed. Now here I am about to turn 23 years old. I conceal carry anywhere I'm allowed to. If I'm going to the ranch to feed my cows, I conceal carry. If I'm going to Walmart with my cousins, we all conceal carry. Between myself and my two cousins, we have over 20 magazines for our semi-automatic rifles. We have bought over thousands of rounds of ammo through the internet. We have even ordered most of our firearms through the internet. I hate to get political here, but under the incoming administration, I wouldn't be allowed to do any of that. Almost every single gun owner can expect their wallet to be heard. Everything I mentioned from here on out is in reference to Joe Biden's gun safety website at joebiden.com/gunsafety. Under his plan, he talked about using the National Firearms Act, the NFA, to help regulate the possession of existing quote-unquote assault weapons. This means everyone who owns an assault weapon will be taxed $200 for each item they must register. Under Joe Biden's plan, your rifle must be registered, also your magazine must be registered. For someone like me, that's easily over $1,000 for one firearm. This is a direct quote from his website. Quote, Biden will also institute a program to buy back weapons of war currently on our streets. This will give individuals who now possess assault weapons or high-capacity magazines two options: sell the weapons to the government or register them under the NFA. Anything that must get registered to the NFA is subject to a $200 tax, unquote. Another major detail is the complete banning of online sales of firearms and ammunition. As of right now, I believe I can speak for the majority of Caldwell gun owners when I say ammunition and firearms are two of the hardest things to find right now, especially for the past 6 months. The complete ban of online sales would leave too many people without access to ammunition. In Article 1, Section 11 of our Idaho Constitution, it reads, quote, right to keep and bear arms. We'll have the right to keep and bear arms, etc. We'll skip to Section 7, where it says, no law shall impose licensure, registration, or special taxation on the ownership or possession of firearms or ammunition, nor shall any law confiscation of firearms except those actually used in the commission of a felony, unquote. So Idaho already has language in our Constitution that protects our Second Amendment, but we believe it can be stronger and there should be added language. The city of Caldwell should pass this resolution as a means of supporting the other cities that have declared themselves Second Amendment sanctuary cities, and joining the movement to add protective language for our Second Amendment here in Idaho. According to the trace.org, as of January 14, 2020, there are over 400 municipalities in 20 states that have declared themselves a Second Amendment sanctuary city. This is about preserving Idaho values for future generations to come. There are people that come from out of state and have so much appreciation for our gun laws in Idaho. We allow constitutional carry for non-residents here in Idaho because we believe the Second Amendment shouldn't be restricted to people just because they're out of state. I can understand why some people will question the overall necessity of this, but in reality, it's a necessity for our future. To preserve our great state of Idaho, it starts with community. And I truly believe the community of Caldwell is on board for making a resolution to declare Caldwell a Second Amendment sanctuary city. Before I finish speaking, I'd love to give a huge shout out to Bridget Mix of Caldwell. Bridget made a post on the Nextdoor app about this resolution, and because of that post, it really got the community talking. I was inspired by this post, so I decided to take some action. I made my own post the following day, and from there, I had 117 people positively react to the post, and I had 118 comments overall. To me, that was a real eye-opener in showing me how many people are genuinely interested in this resolution. I'd also like to give a personal shout-out to Councilman McGee. I emailed Councilman McGee, and I got a response from the same day. He actually allowed me to schedule time to have a conversation over the phone that same day. I appreciate it wholeheartedly. Thank you for allowing me to speak today and giving me the time to do so. I hope the council strongly considers why this is a necessity to the people of Caldwell. Thank you very much.
Barry, thank you very much. We appreciate you bringing this item, the interest you have for this item forward. Are there any questions from council members regarding this presentation? All right, all we can say then is I guess you get off the hook easy. There's no questions for you, and we do appreciate your taking the time to be on, the Zoom meeting with us tonight. Thank you, Eric. All right, that's the only person who has registered for our audience participation tonight. Again, we'd like to thank all those who made special reports to the city council tonight, and thank again all those who have been on the line up to this point. We will now go into the regular part of the meeting, which is first the consent calendar. We've had a request from the applicant on item number 2 to remove this from consideration tonight, which is the order of decision for final plat of case number SUB 20F11, Smead Industrial Subdivision. So that, again, is a request from the applicant. So I would first need a motion to amend the consent calendar by removing item number 2.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Allgood.
I move that we remove item 2 from the consent calendar and proceed as well.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And that, Mr. Pollard, is that the second?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Pollard, to remove item number 2 under the consent calendar, approve the order of decision for final plat, case number SUB 20F-11. Any further discussion? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yeah.
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The consent calendar has been amended by removing item number 2. Is there a motion then for consideration of the remaining items on the consent calendar?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Pollard.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as amended.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Allgood. So we do have a motion by Mr. Pollard, second by Mr. Allgood, to approve the remaining items on the consent calendar. Again, for those that are on the, either watching by streaming or those that are on the Zoom call, consent calendar items are items that are routine in nature, items that complete actions previously taken by the city council. For instance, any public hearings that may have been held. There are some purchases, dedication of right-of-ways and so forth associated with land development. Those items are all considered routine in nature and or have been addressed by the council. This is just completing those actions. And that's why we take them all at one time. It saves time, and certainly they've already been considered. So, would the clerk call the roll, please?
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Paulson.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The motion is unanimously approved by the city council, and all the items on the amended consent calendar have been approved. That takes us then to the old business item, which the first one is an action item, which is a correction to ordinance number, bill number 1, ordinance number 3321, to amend the Caldwell City Code, Chapter 3, Article 5, Section 030509, concerning the powers and duties of the mayor, with a request to waive the rules, pass on the first reading, and to approve the summary for publication. Mr. Hilty, are you going to address that tonight?
I certainly can. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. This is a fairly straightforward item. You may remember this ordinance that you passed at the last meeting. It authorizes the mayor to execute on behalf of the city the standard airport tenant agreement. Then, of course, the council approves by resolution that form of agreement. The problem with the ordinance was limited to the ordinance number. I think it had the wrong number, and that is all that is being corrected in this. So from staff standpoint, we'd ask you to favorably consider the amended bill, and I would stand for questions.
Thank you. And again, the ordinance number 3321 is underlined and highlighted as the correct number. Thank you, Mr. Hilty. Any further questions from council for Mr. Hilty? All right, then. We wouldn't then need to have a motion to waive the rules and consider this amendment on the first reading by title only, and then a motion to, following that, to approve the summary, or approve the new ordinance number as amended.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Pollard.
I move that we waive the third reading process and consider bill number 1, ordinance number 3321, on its first reading by title only.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Okay.
second by Mr. Carlson. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Olson.
Yeah.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. You have the bill before you.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Pollard.
I will sponsor bill number 1, ordinance number 3321, move for its passage by title only, and approve the summary for publication.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Second?
Second was Mr. Hopper, is that correct?
That was one of them, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's hard to tell, sometimes. So we have
Sorry
one by
about
Mr.
that.
Pollard, a second by Mr. Hopper to, sponsor bill number 1, ordinance number 3321, to amend the Caldwell City Code, and to pass it on its first reading by title only. Would the clerk call the roll, please? And, oh, sorry, also to approve the summary for publication.
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Olson.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Bill number 1, ordinance number 3321, has been approved unanimously by the Caldwell City Council, and the summary for publication has also been approved. That is the only item under old business, and that moves us to the new business calendar. The first one is to consider resolution number 0221 regarding case number CMP 2005, known as BBA North Ranch, authorizing the comprehensive plan map amendment. Mrs. Root, are you going to present on that one? Or who from the Planning and Zoning Department?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is Debbie Root, Senior Planner, 621 Cleveland Boulevard, Caldwell, Idaho. The two action items, consider the resolution 0221 for North Ranch development was missed it did not make it to the agenda for consideration by the council. The preliminary plat and annexation was approved for North Ranch development. Therefore, we brought them forward tonight for your consideration.
Thank you very much. All right, I will read this resolution by title only and ask for council's consideration. This is known as Resolution 0221, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Caldwell, Idaho, amending the comprehensive plan and land use map, affirming that prescribed notice and hearing requirements were met in accordance with Title 67, Chapter 65 Idaho Code and the Caldwell City Code, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Carlson.
I would move that we approve resolution number 0221.
Thank you. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Hopper.
Thank you. A motion by Mr. Carlson, second by Mr. Hopper, to approve resolution 0221 regarding the comprehensive plan land use map for BBA North Range. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Paulson,
Yeah.
Pollard, Pollard,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Resolution 0221 has been passed unanimously by the Caldwell City Council. That takes us to the next item, which Mrs. Root already addressed in her previous comment. This is also pertaining to BBA North Ranch annexation. This is the ordinance associated with case number ANN 2003. That's brought forward this evening with a request to consider it on its first reading by title only, and then also to approve the summary for publication. I will read this bill by its title only and ask for council's consideration. Bill number 1, ordinance number 3288. An ordinance determining that certain land lays contiguous to the city limits of the city of Caldwell, County of Canyon, state of Idaho, and that said land should be annexed to the city of Caldwell, Idaho, as part of the C3 Service Commercial and M1 Light Industrial Zone, declaring said lands by proper legal description as described below to be a part of the city of Caldwell, Canyon County, Idaho, directing the city engineer and planning and zoning director to add said property to the official maps of the city of Caldwell, Idaho, repealing all ordinances, resolutions, orders, or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and directing the clerk of the city of Caldwell to file a certified copy of the ordinance and map of the area to be annexed with Canyon County, state of Idaho, and the Idaho State Tax Commission pursuant to Idaho Code, section 63-215.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Pollard?
I move that we waive the three readings process and consider bill number 31, ordinance number 3288 on its first reading by title only.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Carlson?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Pollard, a second by Mr. Carlson, to waive the three reading process to consider bill number 31, ordinance number 3288 for case number ANN 2003 on its first reading by title only. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yeah.
Paulson.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The rules have been suspended. You have the bill before you.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Pollard?
I will sponsor bill number 31, ordinance number 3288, and move for its passage by title only and approve the summary for publication.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Pollard, second by Mr. Carlson, to sponsor bill number 31, ordinance number 3288, move for its passage on its first reading by title only, and to approve the summary for publication. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Paulson.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Bill number 31, ordinance number 3288 has been passed unanimously by the Caldwell City Council on its first reading by title only, and the summary for publication has also been approved. All right, that completes item number 2 under new business. Moves us then to item number 3. This is a quasi-judicial public hearing known as SUB 20P09. I will explain how the public hearing is to be held and the process that we will go through. This is a request by Skyway Industrial Condos LLC for a preliminary condominium plat on parcel R35305.012, 2.81 acres for Skyway Industrial Condos consisting of 8 5,000 square foot buildings. The subject property is currently zoned M1 Light Industrial. The property lies within the Airport Overlay Zone, AP01, and Land Use Limitation District, and is located at the southeast corner of Aviation Way and Skyway Street. Quasi-judicial public hearing is conducted as follows. There are sign-up sheets, and in this case, with Zoom, you should have signed up to speak at this public hearing by Zoom. If you want to do so, we will first open the public hearing, and then the staff will make a presentation regarding the request. Then we will take testimony in the order in which you have signed up, which would be the applicant or their representative, then those who have signed up to speak in favor of the request. Then we will take those who have signed up with questions or are neutral, and those who may have signed up in opposition to the request. After all testimony is given, the applicant, if they choose, can give rebuttal testimony based upon the testimony and facts and information given during the public testimony portion of the hearing. After the rebuttal testimony is given, then council can begin the decision-making process if they choose to. First, by closing the public testimony portion of the hearing, then they would approve findings of fact, approve an evidence list, which myself and the city attorney keep track of during the hearing. Once the evidence list is approved, then they will go, first of all, to a comprehensive plan analysis, then to findings of fact, then conclusions of law, and then render an order of decision based upon the findings of fact and conclusion of law, and the evidence list that was obtained during the public testimony portion of the hearing. Once that motion is made, then the public hearing is closed. Also, any public hearing has a 28-day appeal period. So once the final order of decision is approved, which would be at the next city council meeting, whichever way it is to approve or deny, There's a 28-day appeal period for the decision rendered by the city council to the district court. I believe that covers the rules. Are there any questions? All right. Hearing none then I will call this public hearing open. Again, this is Quasi-Judicial case number SUB 20P09. Staff? Oh, I'm sorry, we need everybody to be sworn in. If you are going to speak to this public hearing, even if you're at home, would you please rise, raise your right hand, and be sworn in.
You swear affirm the testimony you provide tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, I guess we have everybody that is going to speak. Madam Clerk, you have okay. All righty. Again, I will declare this public hearing open, and Mrs. Root.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Debbie Root, Senior Planner, 621 Cleveland Boulevard, Caldwell, Idaho. I have been sworn. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, the case number provided on the agenda for Skyway Industrial Condos should read SUB 23-13, not 09. I apologize for that error in creating my docket. The case numbers in the staff report are correct. Skyway Industrial Condos preliminary plat is a condominium plat proposing 5,000 square foot buildings that will be on saleable lots within a common parking and landscape area with a private street. They're located on approximately 2.81 acres, excuse me, with frontage along Skyway Street. They'll take access to Skyway Street. The west boundary is adjacent to Aviation Way, but there will be no direct access to Aviation. As indicated, the subject property lies within the AP01 land use limitation zone. And the zone M1 light industrial. The proposed uses include the industrial building are allowed uses within that AP01 zone. The preliminary plat shows the required right-of-way dedication to the western farmland at Aviation and Skyway. The development and preliminary plat is in substantial compliance with the state and city codes. The applicant should provide an updated landscape plan to reflect the landscape and plantings outside of the right-of-way, which is indicated in the exhibit. We have not received an updated landscape plan, but it is conditioned to be provided. Staff is recommending approval of the preliminary plat as conditioned, and will stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Root regarding, and again, this is case number SUB 20P13, correct?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Any questions for Mrs. Root? The council? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Mrs. Root. The first person who has signed up to speak at this public hearing is Dan Lardy. Dan, are you online?
Good evening, Mayor, council members, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is Dan Lardy, Memphis Associates, 1324 First Street South. I've been duly sworn. Again, I'm not going to belabor this any. I've already abused Debbie pretty well. It's been very helpful, and friends really appreciate their assistance on this particular matter. Even though it seems pretty straightforward and simple, you know, we can confuse, or we can make things hard for ourselves. But all said and done, staff's help. What you see before you is 9 lots. It'll be 8 buildings, 5,000 square foot, all separate ownership, and then the common lot, which will hold the landscape, the drainage areas, and the parking in common.
With that, we just look forward to your approval this evening, and I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Marty. Any questions from council? Mr. Marty, I do have a question, fairly simple one. Mrs. Root said that there is still a landscape, design, that is supposed to be, put in. Are you aware of that, and that is something that this would be conditioned on, is having that landscape plan, approved by the, planning and zoning staff, is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, that is correct, and we are in agreement of that.
Okay. Then the last question I do have, if I may, is, you mentioned the landscaping is all in a common lot. What is the proposed maintenance of that common lot, and how would that be enforced so that once the landscaping is put in, that it stays nice and beautiful the way it was intended?
Mr. Mayor, so the common lot will be held in tenant in commons, and it'll be held by, I believe, like similar to a homeowners association, except it would be tenants in common. So the landscaping, they'll handle all the maintenance of the parking lot and maintain the landscaping in that manner.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully,
I'm sorry, thank you for that explanation. Any other questions from council for Mr. Lardy? All right, I guess they'll let you off easy this evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You bet. I don't have anyone else who has signed up to speak to this item. So I guess just in keeping with the spirit of the rules, do you want to rebut anything you just said, Mr. Hardy?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
Thank you, council.
Okay. That concludes the public testimony portion of the hearing, and so unless there are any further questions for council, I would ask for a motion to close the public testimony portion of the hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mr. Carlson. Is there a second?
Second?
Second was Mr. Hopper.
Yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. I would submit then for your approval the evidence list as follows: staff report, sign-up sheet, the plat, and the aerial presented by Debbie Root. Mark, did you have anything else?
No, that's what I have, Mayor.
Okay, I would present that for your approval as for the evidence list.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the evidence list as presented.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mr. Carlson. Is there a second?
Second by Mr. Hopper.
Second by Mr. Hopper. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we will begin the decision-making process first with the comprehensive plan analysis.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Carlson.
I would move that we accept the comprehensive plan analysis under Roman numeral 5 and the staff report.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Sorry, Rob. The joys of Zoom, right? We have a motion by Mr. Carlson, second by Mr. Hopper, to approve the comprehensive plan analysis as found in the staff report under Roman numeral 5. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Findings of fact,
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Allgood.
Mayor and City Council accepts the facts as outlined in the staff report, public testimony, and the evidence list. All adopted city ordinances, standards, and codes were used in evaluating the application.
Thank you. We have a motion for findings of fact from Mr. Allgood. Is there a second?
Second by Mr. Hopper.
Thank you. We have a second by Mr. Hopper regarding findings of fact. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously regarding findings of fact. Council's conclusions of law. Mr. Mayor. Mr. Allgood.
Mayor and the city council have the authority to hear this case in order that it be approved or denied. Public notice requirements were met, and the hearing was legally noticed and posted, and the hearing was held and conducted under the requirements of Idaho Code and city ordinances.
Thank you.
Second by Mr. Hopper.
A motion by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Hopper regarding conclusions of law. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Order of decision for case number SUB 20P13.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Carlson.
based on the findings of fact and the conclusion of law, the mayor and the city council ordered case number SUB 20P13, a request by Skyway Industrial Condos LLC for a preliminary condominium plot on parcel R3530512, 2.81 acres for Skyway Industrial Condos consisting of 8 5,000 square foot buildings, common drive aisles, and parking in Caldwell, Idaho, be approved with the conditions listed in the staff report.
Thank you. Motion for approval by Mr. Carlson, second by Mr. Hopper. Any further discussion? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Carlson,
Yes.
Pollard, Pollard,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Lardy, we wish you the best of luck with your new development out there, and thank you for your investment and interest in the city of Caldwell. Is there a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Allgood,
Second by Mr. Hopper.
second by Mr. Hopper. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously, and we have closed the public hearing regarding SUB 20P13. That completes action item number 3 on the new business calendar. Moves us to item number 4, which is like unto it, is a public hearing, also quasi-judicial, regarding case number ANN 2016 SUB 20P12. This is a requesting annexation of, BST Development LLC is requesting annexation of 7.23 acres with a designation of R1 low-density residential, and seeking approval of preliminary plat for Pappy's Landing Subdivision, consisting of 21 single-family residential lots and 4 common lots. The subject properties are located at 11246 Highway 2026 in Caldwell, Idaho, parcel number R3409200000. Again, this hearing will be conducted in the same manner as the last public hearing. So if you are going to speak to this public hearing, would you please rise, raise your right hand, and the clerk will swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you provide tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you've all been sworn in, so, as we get to your name to testify, if you please give us your name, address for the record, and acknowledge that you have been sworn in. All right, I will declare this public hearing open. Again, this is quasi-judicial case hearing ANN 2016 SUB 20P12. And again, for those that are online, there are actually 2 items that the council will consider tonight. Public testimony will be for both items. The first is an annexation request. That will be taken up first. The testimony given tonight will be for both ANN 2016 as well as the subdivision preliminary plat. So we will first take up, when we go to the decision-making process, we'll take the annexation up first. If for some reason the city council does not approve the annexation, then the subdivision plat is moot, and the hearing would be over at that point. If the annexation is approved, then we would move forward with the decision-making process also regarding the subdivision preliminary plat. Are there any questions regarding that process? All right, I will declare this public hearing open and ask for staff to make the presentation. I'm assuming that's going to be again Mrs. Root.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Debbie Root, Senior Planner, 621 Cleveland Boulevard, Caldwell, Idaho, and I have been sworn.
Thank you.
much to my chagrin, Mr. Mayor and city council members, I was batting 1,000 on my case numbers for this agenda. The patent landing annexation case number should be ANN 20-06, not 16. I apologize for that error. There's also a numbering error within the staff report. There were 2 section 9s, and therefore, the comprehensive plan analysis should be section 10, the findings of fact, section 11, conclusions of law, section 12, recommendations, section 13, and the order of decision will be section 14. I sincerely apologize for the oversight in not getting the case numbers and section numbers corrected when I modified the staff report for your consideration. With that, I have provided to the city clerk and I believe she provided it to the mayor, that the applicant submitted a revised preliminary plat that had been discussed with staff and engineering prior to this, but I received them after the docket had been sent to city council, to the clerk for publication. Therefore, what you see on the screen in the middle there is the revised plat. During their due diligence on their engineering, they discovered that the storm drainage pond had to be significantly increased and they also changed the location of where that storm drainage was going to be. We had to replace one storm drainage. We're also asking for consideration that the 3 of the lots that are north of the road there will be just less than 10% under the 3,000 square feet required dimension that is applicable to footnote 7 and the dimensional standards of the zoning ordinance.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Carlson?
Debbie, you're cutting out real bad. I can't hardly hear you, I'm sorry. I don't know if there's anything that you can do or if it's just the system we have.
Yep, let me just take my phone off speaker. And can you hear me better now?
Yes, I can.
Much better.
Okay, great. So as indicated, the applicant is requesting to annex 7.22 acres into the city of Caldwell with a zoning designation of R1, low-density residential, which is consistent with the comprehensive plan for the subject property. To the west of the property is Woodgate Subdivision, which is also zoned R1, and to the north is the future development of Mandalay Ranch Subdivision, which is located north of Mason Creek. That property is also zoned R1. The property to the east of this remains in the county and is a residential agricultural parcel. The southern boundary is adjacent to State Highway 2026. The property will not take direct access to Highway 2026. ITD had some significant demands on the property owner, and staff and engineering at the time when this project was being discussed had proposed that they do a cul-de-sac instead of taking access to Highway 2026. After their due diligence with ITD, they determined that was an appropriate means of ingress-egress to the development, which takes access through Woodgate Subdivision on a public road to Ward Lane, where the access and the a signal will be, installed, with the expansion of 2026. Okay, so, the annexation request is in substantial compliance with city code and the comprehensive plan. The proposed development of now 20 lots, is consistent with the ordinance requirements, and it's a great infill project for a small piece of property that was once a residential property, was abandoned, and had not been well maintained since then. The development is very straightforward and consistent with comprehensive plan requirements, zoning and subdivision ordinances. There's greater than 10% qualifying open space. They are providing for an extension of the pathway that currently is in Woodgate Subdivision. They provided for parkway landscaping along the drainages, and a small park within the development for the enjoyment of the property owners and adjacent developments. There are several letters of concern from property owners along Ward Lane and within Woodgate Subdivision. I received 3 letters of concern via email on January 18th, 2021. The letters were provided to the city clerk this morning, and I will, as appropriate, read them into the record for council's consideration.
Thank you, Debbie. For the record, the revised plat will be labeled CC 1000 for the record. And then what I'll do, Debbie, is I'll read those letters into the record when we get to those in opposition. That sound all right?
Oh, okay, perfect. Yes, that sounds great.
Yeah, that way then Mr. Unger can respond during rebuttal testimony if he wants to respond to those. Okay? That'll kind of follow the outline of the process for these public hearings. So any questions for Mrs. Root regarding this presentation? And again, for the record, CC 1000 is the revised plat. And that was described by Mrs. Root in her testimony. Okay, Mr. Unger.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Bob Unger. I'm with ULC Management. My address is 9662 West Arnold Road, Boise, Idaho 83714. And I have been sworn. And I represent BST Development. I think staff has done a wonderful job of reviewing the project and the recent changes. Debbie's been very great to work with, and we appreciate all of her efforts, and we hope she gets to feeling better and does not have the COVID. So just very quickly here, I will go over some of the project itself. And as stated by Debbie, we recently got soil tests done on the project, and we found out that the soils were not sufficient to have these smaller drain facilities that we were proposing. So consequently, we have eliminated one of our residential lots, so we now have 20 residential lots and 5 common lots, one of those lots being a drainage lot. And that is lot number 5, block 2, which is in the northern portion of the project. And in order to create a large enough lot for the drainage retention, we have requested that lots 4, 6, and 7, block 2, be allowed a reduction of 10% in the minimum lot size, which is allowed by code. And we think that should work well with the project itself. I think as staff has commented, the project
is in compliance with the comprehensive plan and city code. One other item is the pathway / sidewalk that would parallel Highway 2026. That is proposed to be built by ITD in their 2022 plan for the widening of Highway 2026. And we will work with them in getting that completed. And other than those items, we have reviewed the staff report and the conditions of approval, and we are in concurrence with those. And I'll stand for any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Unger. Any questions from council? All right. There's no one who has signed up to speak to this public hearing by Zoom. However, as Mrs. Root described, we received 3 letters. For the record, I will label these as I read them. The first one is a letter from Amanda Harris. It will be labeled CC 1001. And I will read this into the record. Good morning. In regards to the proposed low-density residential preliminary plat of Pappy's Landing subdivision, number 1, water, our irrigation runs across that land. I have not received any notice about making sure that it is piped underneath the subdivision or lost during construction times. Our livestock depend on that water. Item number 2, please require a park. There are no parks on the north side of 2026, and no family children can safely cross 2026 to get to any of the city or public school areas. The CBH subdivision that had hundreds of houses added also has no parks. Please do the city right by requiring a park for each subdivision built. 3, road safety. Ward Lane, Joplin, and Ware need to be widened to be able to support 2 cars with speed limit signs and lines. I can see the city has poured road mix, but please make sure that lines are also drawn, even if temporary, so many new drivers on that road are not recognizing the space they are taking up. Number 4, walking bridge over 2026 will require stop crossing lights with 2 public schools south of 2026 on Ward. Please plan a walking bridge so students can ride their bikes to school or walk safely. Our kids need exercise and would like to teach them healthy lifestyles. Thank you, Amanda Harris. And again, that is labeled CC 1001. The second letter is from Tony Farrow, 20314 Ward Lane, Caldwell, Idaho, 83605. That will be labeled CC 1002. Subject in regards to the proposed low-density residential preliminary plat of Pappy's Landing subdivision. Number 1, please make sure there's a park in the new subdivision. We moved here a couple of years ago, and we were surprised to see there were no parks in the neighboring subdivisions. Since then, 2 more subdivisions have gone in and they don't have parks either. No subdivision should ever be built without parks. Our road, Ward Road, and nearby 2026 are already overburdened. Please make sure that the infrastructure around us keeps up with the growth. 3, a lot of schools are on the other side of 2026, and there is no safe way for kids to get there except from all of us to drive, or for kids to take the bus. Driving there will only make the crazy morning traffic problem worse. And our elementary school is a mile away, which is great, but our kid would spend an hour each way on the bus to get there safely. She could walk to school much faster, but the roads are not at all pedestrian friendly. Last summer, we had trouble with our irrigation due to nearby construction. Please make sure that we are able to keep water on our pasture through the duration of this project. Our animals rely on the water. Finally, make sure that the question we are addressing is not how can we develop it makes lots of money, and instead, what kind of community do we want? Growth is great if our roads, schools, and other infrastructure can keep pace, but so far that is not happening. And the third letter is from Judy Farrell at 20314 Ward Lane, and it will be labeled CC 1003. Good evening. I would like to join my granddaughter Amanda Harris's voice in regards to the proposed low-density residential preliminary plat of Pappy's Landing subdivision. And this is basically just a repetition of the letter from Amanda Harris. And again, so that is, those are the three letters in opposition, have read them into the record and have labeled them accordingly. Now, Mr. Unger, we're at that portion, no one else has signed up to speak, and then there's no other, information provided for this hearing. Mr. Unger, if you would like to address those, and or if staff has any responses to some of the questions that were raised there. Mr. Unger?
Mr. Mayor and Council, Bob Unger again. I think I can respond to all of these, versus issues. First of all, the, irrigation water, we are proposing to pipe some of the irrigation, in the area. But certainly, any waters that go through this project will continue to outside or surrounding areas, they currently are being received. We will not disrupt any irrigation waters. As far as parks, we are proposing, one nice park and also, another common area on the western boundary of the project. Ward Lane, I think as you all are probably aware, Ward Lane is going to be signalized and, during the project that ITD is doing in 2022. And I don't believe that they're going to allow any kind of a sky bridge over 2026. I don't believe that's in their plans. Certainly, we are more than open to work with the surrounding neighbors. We've had 2 neighborhood meetings, and we've tried to address any and all of their concerns. And having said that, stand for any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Unger. Any questions from council for Mr. Unger?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Aldridge?
So, Mr. Unger, is Pappy's Landing associated with the subdivision next to them? Because there was, something in our notes about the HOA concerned about the amount of traffic on their roadway. What's that situation, or is there a situation there?
Mr. Mayor, no, we are not proposing to be a part of their HOA. The streets within their subdivision, as we have been told, have capacity for this project. And of course, the maintenance of the existing streets would not be our responsibility, nor the responsibility of the HOAs.
Okay, so that there's no conflict there, other than what was said in the note?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Orton?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So I'll just add to that that the road passing through the adjacent subdivision is a public street. This is a small subdivision of 20 lots now, which is not going to generate significant traffic. It falls below the thresholds required for traffic study, in fact. And so staff has guided the customer towards Ward Lane and utilizing that public street. It was stubbed with the intention for it to have connectivity to an adjacent lot, and we are not, from a traffic engineering standpoint, it would be very undesirable for the subdivision to have taken access to 2026. So that's, I think, a positive for everybody.
I just can't imagine ITD allowing an access on the Highway 2026, especially with the upgrade of that facility. And again, I certainly understand the concerns of where schools are located. There is a new school going in on the north side, not very far from there, Valley View Elementary School and Valley View Middle School. I don't know where these students will attend, but I would guess that would be pretty close. Unfortunately, the State Highway 2026, does not allow pedestrian crosswalks, does not allow pedestrian overpasses or anything like that, because obviously the intent of the facility is to move vehicles on a state highway system. That is out of the city's hands, it's out of the city's control. And again, that's why staff would, push the developer, and rightly so, towards connectivity. When we do approve subdivisions, we always, take a look at the future and make sure there's connectivity between neighborhoods so they're not islands unto themselves. Obviously, the walking paths are important for safety of the children and youth. As was mentioned, with the upgrade of 2026, there will be a signalized intersection at Ward and also a signalized intersection at KCID. To help the safety and crossing of that facility, there would be ability to, much more safely access that 2026 with those signalized intersections. Granted, that is a couple of years away, but it is planning and moving forward. And then in regards to the question requiring parks, there is required open space in every subdivision, and the majority of the newer subdivisions we've seen have had, you can't change the past, but the newer subdivisions have a lot of open space and recreation areas, tot lots and things like that. So there are neighborhood lots being required in our, current ordinances and with the newer subdivisions that are coming in the city of Caldwell. So, that would be just a staff answer to those questions. Mr. Carlson.
I just wanted to say too, the engineering department required that sub for a reason, and knowing that this would be an infill, this is an excellent infill, and, this is really about the only way they could do it.
Any other questions for Mr. Unger? Okay. That concludes everyone who has signed up to speak at this public hearing, and the rebuttal testimony has been given. Is there a motion then to close the public testimony portion of the hearing?
So moved.
Anyway, motion by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Carlson. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. I would first then present for your approval the evidence list as follows. I have a staff report, sign-up sheets, the aerial of ANN 2006, SUV 20P-12, CC 1000, which is the revised plat that was presented as an exhibit this evening by Mrs. Root, and then CC 1001, which is the letter from Amanda Harris, CC 1002, which is the letter from Tony Farrell, CC 1003, which is the letter from Judy Farrell. That's all that I have, Mr. Hilty. Did I miss anything?
I don't have anything else, Mayor.
Thank you. And again, that would be for both the annexation and the SUV. Mr. Hopper?
Move to accept the evidence list as presented to council.
Thank you. Is there a second? I have a motion by Mr. Hopper, second by Mr. McGee, to approve the evidence as presented by myself and Mr. Hilty. And again, it serves as the evidence list for both ANN 2006 and SUV 20P-12. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. The evidence list has been approved. So first, we'll go with the annexation, which is ANN 2006. I would ask for council's comprehensive plan analysis.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Mr. Carlson.
I would move that we accept the comprehensive plan analysis and Roman numeral 5 in the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second by Mr. Hopper.
Thank you. A motion by Mr. Carlson, second by Mr. Hopper, to approve the comprehensive plan analysis as found in the staff report under Roman numeral 5. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. I would ask for council's findings of fact regarding ANN 2016.
Mr. Mayor, I would submit as findings of fact, the facts as outlined in the staff report, the public testimony and record and letters read into the record this evening, the evidence list as previously accepted, and I think that's it.
Thank you. I have a motion for findings of fact is by Mr. Hopper. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carlson. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries unanimously regarding findings of fact. Conclusions of law.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Allgood.
The mayor and city council have the authority to hear this case in order that it be approved or denied. Public notice requirements were met, the hearing was legally noticed and posted, and the hearing was held and conducted under the requirements of Idaho Code and city ordinances.
Thank you. Is there a second? Mr. Hopper. Second by Mr. Hopper regarding conclusions of law. The motion was by Mr. Allgood. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries unanimously. Order of decision for ANN 2006.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Allgood.
based on the findings of fact and conclusions of law, the mayor and city council order that case number ANN 2006, a request by BST Development LLC to annex 7.22 acres more or less with an R1 low-density residential zoning designation for the property located at 11246 Highway 2026, parcels R34092 in Caldwell, Idaho, is approved with the attached conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Hopper. Okay, we have a motion for approval by Mr. Allgood with the conditions as outlined in the staff report, and second was by Mr. Hopper. Any further discussion? For the clerk, call the roll, please.
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Pollard,
No.
McGee.
Yes.
Okay, I believe the motion was 5-1 regarding the annexation. That is approved. That moves us then to the preliminary plat known as SUB 20P-12. Again, the evidence list has already been approved, so I would ask for council's comprehensive plan analysis for the subdivision plan.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr.
I
Paulson.
believe Mr. Booth said these numbers have changed, so, I would move that we accept the comprehensive plan analysis in Roman numeral 10 in the staff report.
That's correct. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Hopper.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Carlson, second by Mr. Hopper to approve the comprehensive plan analysis as found in the staff report under Roman numeral 10. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
I believe that it was 5-1. As a matter of fact, I believe, the only nay I heard was Mr. Pollard. Okay. I would ask for, council's findings of fact.
Mr. Mayor, this is Mr. Hopper.
Mr. Hopper.
Can I, submit the findings of fact as the facts as outlined in the staff report, public testimony given this evening, the, evidence list that we have presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Hopper, second by Mr. Allgood regarding findings of fact for SUB 20P-12. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
Okay, again, I believe it was 5-1. Mr. Pollard voted no, and the rest voted nay, or yay, or in the affirmative. I would then ask for council's conclusions of law.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Allgood.
the mayor and city council have the authority to hear this case in order that it be approved or denied. Public notice requirements were met, the hearing was legally noticed and posted, and the hearing was held and conducted under the requirements of Idaho Code and city ordinances.
Thank you.
Second by Mr. Hopper.
I have a motion for conclusions of law regarding, this SUB 20P-12, second by Mr. Hopper. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Motion carries unanimously. Order of decision?
Mr.
Mr.
Mayor,
Mayor,
Mr. Carlson.
based on the findings of fact and conclusions of law, the mayor and city council orders case number SUB 20P-12, a request by BST Development LLC for preliminary plot approval of Pappy's Landing subdivision consisting of 7.22 acres, more or less, to be subdivided into 20 residential lots and 4 common lots in the property located at 11246 Highway 2026, parcel R34092 in Caldwell, Idaho, is approved with the conditions listed in the staff report.
Second by Mr. Hopper.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mr. Carlson, second by Mr. Hopper for approval of SUB 2312 with conditions as outlined in the staff report. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Paulson?
Yes.
Pollard?
No.
McGee? McGee?
Yes.
Allgood?
Yes.
Wagner?
Yes.
Hopper?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion carries 5-1, and the SUB 20P is approved. Mr. Unger, thank you very much for your presentation this evening. Thank you, Mrs. Root, for your work on this project, and those from staff. Is there a motion then to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Thank you. I have a motion, Mr. Allgood, a second.
Second by Mr. Hopper.
Second, Mr. Hopper. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed, nay?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, any opposed, nay? Motion carries unanimously, the public hearing is closed. All right, that completes item number 4 on the new business calendar, and moves us to item number 5, which is the companion document associated with this request. This is known as Bill number 54, Ordinance number 3301. This is brought forward this evening with a request to waive the 3 reading process, to consider on its first reading by title only, and to approve the summary for publication. Bill number 54, Ordinance number 3301. An ordinance determining that certain land lays contiguous to the city limits of the city of Caldwell, county of Canyon, state of Idaho, and that said land should be annexed to the city of Caldwell, Idaho, as part of the R1 low-density residential zone, declaring said lands by proper legal description as described below to be a part of the city of Caldwell, Canyon County, Idaho, directing the city engineer and planning and zoning director to add said property to the official maps of the city of Caldwell, Idaho, repealing all ordinances, resolutions, orders, or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and directing the clerk of the city of Caldwell to file a certified copy of the ordinance and map of the area to be annexed with Canyon County, state of Idaho, and the Idaho State Tax Commission pursuant to Idaho Code Section 63-215.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Carlson.
I move that we waive the 3 reading rule, consider bill number 54, ordinance 3301 on its first reading by title only.
Thank you.
Second by Mr. Hopper.
A motion by Mr. Carlson, second by Mr. Hopper to waive the 3 reading process. Consider bill number 54, ordinance number 3301 on its first reading by title only. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Paulson?
Yes.
Pollard? Pollard?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Allgood?
Yes.
Wagner?
Yes.
Hopper?
Yes.
Thank you. The
Mr.
rules
Mayor,
are suspended.
Mr. Mayor, I will sponsor bill number 54, ordinance number 3301, move for its passage and approve the summary for publication.
Thank
Second
you.
by Mr. Hopper.
A motion by Mr. Carlson, second by Mr. Hopper to sponsor bill number 54, ordinance number 3301, move for its passage on its first reading by title only, and to approve the summary for publication. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Paulson?
Yes.
Pollard?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Allgood?
Yes.
Wagner?
Yes.
Hopper?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Bill number 54, ordinance number 3301, has been approved unanimously by the Caldwell City Council on its first reading by title only, and the summary approved for publication. That completes action item number 5, and moves us to item number 6, which is to consider bill number 3, ordinance number 3323, to annex Sienna Hills number 10, subdivision phase number 10, into the Caldwell Municipal Irrigation District, with a request to waive the rules, pass on the first reading, and to approve a summary for publication. Again, these are standard housekeeping requests by the applicant. So this is a voluntary annexation into the subdivision. This is very common, and I will read the bill. Yep. Read the bill regarding the irrigation district, it's actually the Caldwell Municipal Irrigation District. I will read this bill by its title only and ask for council's consideration. An ordinance of the city of Caldwell, Idaho, annexing a portion of property within the corporate city limits into the Caldwell Municipal Irrigation District of the city of Caldwell, Canyon County, Idaho, and changing the boundaries thereof, directing the city engineer to alter the boundary map accordingly, declaring the intent of the city to pool water rights and apply a uniform method of allocating assessments and charges, and providing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Allgood.
I move that we consider bill number, that we waive the three reading rule and consider bill number 3, ordinance number 3323 on its first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second? A motion by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Hopper, to waive the three reading process, consider bill number 3, ordinance number 3323 on its first reading by title only. For the clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr.
Mr.
Mayor,
McGee.
this is John. Yeah, thank you. Just very quickly before we vote on this, my family owns a lot in that development, and I talked to Mr. Hilty about this. We do not see this as a conflict of interest, and as you mentioned, this is a housekeeping vote, and so I just wanted to acknowledge that.
I agree. Thank you. That is acknowledged, and we do appreciate that, Mr. McGee.
And Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pollard?
I also need to acknowledge that the developer at St. Helens is a good friend of mine. But again, I don't think that will impact my vote.
Nope, it shouldn't be a problem at all, but thank you for making both of those, transparent and on the record. Thank you very much. With that, then, would the clerk call the roll, please?
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The rules have been suspended. You have the bill before you.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Allgood.
I'll sponsor bill number 3, ordinance number 3323, and move for its passage and approve the summary for publication.
Thank you. Is there a second? Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Hopper, to sponsor bill number 3, ordinance number 3323, move for its passage on its first reading by title only, and to approve the summary for publication. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Bill number 3, ordinance number 3323 has been approved unanimously, and the summary for publication has also been approved unanimously. That completes action item number 6, and moves us then to action item number 7, to consider corrected bill number 38, ordinance number 3295A, to de-annex a strip of land erroneously annexed into the Caldwell Municipal Irrigation District, instrument number 200323505, with a request to waive the rules and pass on the first reading. Mr. Orton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So this item is similar to an annexation, except it's just fixing a problem that is not into the incorporated limits, of course, but rather into the Caldwell Municipal Irrigation District, where our irrigation department would see to it. So this is just a correction of a error made where we inadvertently annexed something and that we weren't supposed to. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Orton. Okay, this is bill number 38, corrected ordinance number 3295A. An ordinance of the city of Caldwell, Idaho, de-annexing a portion of property within the corporate city limits into the Caldwell Municipal Irrigation District of the city of Caldwell, Canyon County, Idaho, and changing the boundaries thereof. Directing the city engineer to alter the boundary map accordingly, declaring the intent of the city to pool water rights and apply a uniform method of allocating assessments and charges, and providing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Allgood.
I would move that we waive the 3 reading rule and consider bill number 38, corrected ordinance number 3295A on its first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second by Mr. Hopper.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Hopper, to waive the 3 reading process regarding corrected bill number 38, ordinance number 3295A, and consider it on its first reading by title only. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee. McGee.
Okay, the rules have been suspended.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Allgood,
I'd sponsor bill number 38, corrected ordinance number 3295A, and move for its passage.
is there a second?
Second by Mr. Hopper.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Hopper, to sponsor bill number 38, correct ordinance number 3295A. Move for its passage on its first reading by title only, and to approve the summary for publication.
I don't believe there's.
Oh, there's not one on this one. Thank you, Mr. Allgood. So just to pass the bill on its first reading by title only. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yeah.
Pollard,
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Corrected bill number 38, ordinance number 3295A has been approved unanimously by the Caldwell City Council. Financial report,
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Pollard.
the Finance Committee has reviewed current accounts payable in the amount of $1,030,291.85 for the period ending January 13th, 2021. A net payroll of $504,904.89 for the pay period ending January 2nd, 2021. I move that accounts payable in the amount of $1,030,291.85 represented by check numbers 150992 through 151186, and payroll for the amount of $516,904.89 represented by check numbers 35501 through 35643, and direct deposits be accepted, payments approved, and vouchers filed in the city clerk.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hopper.
I think Mr. Allgood beat you that time, Mr. Hopper. So we have a motion by Mr. Pollard, second by Mr. Allgood to approve the financial report as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries unanimously regarding the financial report. Council reports, Mr. Pollard.
Well, Mr. Mayor, today I took my first step to becoming part of the Caldwell Police Department because I shaved my head off. I no longer have any hair, which most of our officers don't, male officers, I should say. You know, I may put my application in, you know, they've already seen me fire my Glock, and they say, you know, I'm the shakest gun in the West. So I may be applying.
I will put the chief on notice of that. Thank you, Mike. Anything else?
That's it, sir.
Okay, Mr. Carlson.
Well, tomorrow is the inauguration of our new president, and I just, hope that, we can get things, back to a normal place in this nation.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson. Mr. Hopper.
Councilman Pollard scares me, so just saying. That's all.
Stand in front of the gun.
Just hold still, and I bet your chances are good.
Don't move into a bath, I got you.
And again, Mr. Hopper, if I may just publicly offer our condolences for the passing of your wonderful father. What a great man he is, and the wonderful contributions by him and the Hopper family will be remembered forever. What a legacy the Hopper family has left upon this community, and we just wish you and your family well, and I know that this is difficult under COVID guidelines, and so I just want you to know that you're in our thoughts and prayers, and please pass that along to your family.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, I certainly will do so.
Thank you. Mr. Wagner.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Allgood?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I don't know how many of you are aware, but, Manny Alvarez passed away Thursday. And he was an absolutely amazing member of this community, served this community far more than most. And, I just would like to honor him and recognize him, in his passing.
Yeah, he, what a great man he was, and the way he touched the lives of so many young men. Maybe even some young ladies, I think, that were involved in that boxing program. And he was certainly a champion for the youth of our community, and did so much. Worked hard to get a decent place to train, and now, you know, because of his efforts, we have one. Yeah, so, yeah, that's wonderful. All right, thank you for that. Mr. McGee?
Not tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. The only thing that I have is to present to you my annual report for the year 2020. What a year it was. Oh, my goodness, I hope and pray that 2021 will be a better year. I would like to read this into the record. This is my 2020 year-end report. I respectfully submit to you the following information to serve as my 2020 year-end report. In my capacity as mayor, I have chaired and or attended 735 meetings. Worked 244 out of 251 calendar work days. Note, 25 days allowed for vacation meant I worked 244 of 226 required work days. Worked 2,268.5 hours. City code requires me to work 2,080 hours less holidays and vacation, which is 1,796 hours. So that's pushing 500 hours over the required amount. In 2020, I attended the following national conferences, which these were all early, before COVID hit. I did attend the ICRIM training in March. My expenses were paid by ICRIM. And then I attended the National League of Cities Conference in March. Those were the only two that I attended. I continue to represent the city of Caldwell on Compass, Valley Regional Transit, Metro Community Services, representative for Idaho Cities as chairman of the Idaho Public Safety Communications Commission. I am chairman of the National League of Cities Investment Committee. I'm on the board of directors for NARC, which is the National Association of Regional Councils for Transportation. I'm also the city representative on the ICRIM board, and then I also serve on several other boards and commissions. Again, it has been a pleasure to work with the city council and staff members over the past year. I look forward to another great year in 2021. And I would just simply ask for a motion to accept that report and place it in the office of the city clerk for records.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Pollard?
I move that we accept your report and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mike. It's an honor.
Heartily second, Mr. Hopper.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Pollard, second by Mr. Hopper. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, thank you so very much, and I'll give that letter to Mrs. Geyer, and she will place it in its proper place in the city records, so. All right, the next item on the agenda is an executive session pursuant to Idaho Code Section 74206, subsection 1F, for the purpose of discussing pending litigation or where there is a general public awareness of probable litigation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Carlson. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Allgood,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.